Imagine waking up one day and discovering that someone had been sneaking into your bank account every single night, not taking huge amounts, just small percentages, but doing it consistently year after year for your entire life. You'd be furious, right? Well, here's the uncomfortable truth. That's already happening. It's called inflation, and most people have absolutely no idea how much wealth it's silently destroying. Welcome back to the channel. If you're serious about protecting and growing your money, you're in the right place. Today we're pulling back the curtain on one of the most misunderstood forces in personal finance, inflation. And more importantly, I'm going to show you exactly what you can do to fight back. Let's start with the basic. More dangerous reality is this. Inflation is the erosion of your purchasing power. It means every single dollar you own today is worth less tomorrow. Not dramatically less, just quietly, consistently, relentlessly less. Here's a real number that should stop you cold. The average inflation rate in the United States over the last century has been around 3% per year. That sounds harmless, doesn't it? 3%. But let's do the math together. If you have $100,000 sitting in a savings account earning next to nothing, which, by the way, describes millions of Americans, at 3% inflation lost $26,000. In 25 years, that same $100,000 feels more like $47,000. Inflation didn't rob you in one dramatic moment. It pickpocketed you every single day while you weren't looking. Now let's talk about why this hits savers especially hard. Most traditional savings accounts right now offer interest rates somewhere between 0.5% and 1%. Even with high-yield savings accounts offering around 4 to 5% during periods of elevated rates, historically, those rates fluctuate and often lag behind real inflation. And here's what the banks don't advertise. When your savings account interest rate is this even more tangible with something everyone understands, a cup of coffee. In 1990, the average cup of coffee cost about 75 cents. Today, that same cup will run you close to $5 in most cities. That's not just the coffee shop being greedy. That's decades of inflation compounding, slowly reshaping the value of every dollar in your wallet. So what do wealthy investors and financial experts actually do to protect themselves? The first strategy is investing in assets that historically outpace inflation. The S&P 500, for example, has returned an average of about 10% annually over the long term, well above the historical inflation rate. That gap between investment return and inflation rate is how real cost, diversified, consistent, is one of the most powerful tools the average person has access to right now. The second strategy is real estate. Property values and rental income have historically risen with or ahead of inflation, making real estate one of the classic inflation hedges. You don't necessarily need to buy a rental property either. Real estate investment trusts, or REITs, let you invest in real estate portfolios through the stock market with far less capital. Third, consider Treasury inflation-protected securities, known as TIPS. These are government bonds specifically designed to rise with inflation. They're not glamorous, but they serve an important as one of the highest returning inflation hedges available. Skills that increase your earning power compound just like interest does. A higher income gives you more to invest and more flexibility to adapt when prices rise. Now, none of this means you should panic or dump all your savings into volatile assets tomorrow. The key is balance. An emergency fund in a high-yield savings account still makes sense. Liquid cash has its place, but anything beyond 3 to 6 months of expenses should be working harder for you in assets designed to grow. Here's the mindset shift I want you to take away from today. Doing nothing with your money is not a neutral decision. In the face of inflation, it is an active choice to lose wealth slowly. The people who build lasting financial success backward. Inflation is not going away. It is a permanent feature of modern economies. But armed with the right knowledge and the right strategies, it doesn't have to win. You can stay ahead of it. You can protect what you've built, and you can make sure that the money you earn today still has real power decades from now. If this video opened your eyes to something you hadn't fully considered before, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It genuinely helps this content reach more people who need to hear it. Subscribe if you haven't already, because every week we